The Subaru Forester has been with us since the 90s. And yet, this new 6th generation 2025 Subaru still looks like a Forester. And yet, we do get a new look, a new structure, and new technology inside. Let's take a closer look. Looking at the front of the car, to me, it definitely still looks like a Forester, but a more modern Forester. First of all, we do have this updated star cluster emblem right here, and we do have this new grille with, a lot of interesting shapes built into it. We have these big horizontal slots right here, and then these smaller vertical slots right here. We have this nice polished metal look element right here, and then these gloss black elements as you go lower. Most of the grille is actually blanked out. This is all blanked out, but this is real grille opening in these lower two slots here. Then as you keep going lower, you have body color for the bumper, and then more just regular plastic, I'll call it, down low, and these integrated little patterns built into the front right here. We also have these fog lights down low and way off to the side, adds a little bit of width to the car, and we even have some form in the front fascia around the fog lights. The main beams right here, these are LED headlights now, and that is true for every trim of 2025 Forester, and it's an interesting pattern, and it actually bucks a lot of tradition. We've seen headlights getting narrower and narrower and narrower. These are pretty fat. These go the other way. You have like running beams and turn signals built in here, and what looks like the main beam down low right here. The hood itself has some interesting structure. The hood line comes down and actually becomes the top of the quarter panel in a way, and then we have a fairly clean curve for the hood here, and then a nice hump for the center of it. But I'm still more interested to show you what's underneath it. Well, there you have it, your 2.5 liter flat 4 engine, or boxer engine as Subaru likes to call it. It is 4 aft mounted or front to back like that, which is really nice to see. Do like this big and bulky intake plenum you have right at the top, no shroud to cover it. There's your throttle body in the back, yet your air intake is actually up front and up here. It's tucked in front of the radiator here, and then swoops around, air box, and then comes to the back where the throttle body is right there. ABS pump is hanging out right there. Battery, easy to get to right here, and so is your oil filter. It's hanging out right there. The center line of the front axle is right around here, right around where the throttle body meets the intake hose right there. So much of the engine is in front of the axle center line, but because it's 4 aft, you do have the transaxle behind it, not next to it, and some drivetrain for the rear wheels as well. So weight distribution, despite that, is not that bad, and I appreciate that. In the modern era, this is a pretty simple engine, not turbocharged, not hybrid in any way, and the power results do show that. 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque, but considering the size of this vehicle and everything else, that's respectable. And I must say, there is a joy in simplicity in a lot of ways. So I'm actually pretty happy to see it. Looking at the 6th generation Forester in profile, it definitely still looks like a Forester to me here. You got this tall 2-box kind of a shape. Just looks like it's standing on its hind legs a little bit, an eager little thing. This is the Horizon Blue Pearl paint. This is one of the standard colors, and I think it's a lovely color. And I think that it's a perfectly reasonable shape and profile, especially since this car has been with us for so long now. I do like the subtle thunder flare you get here in front, and then this black plastic cladding is, whatever. I'm not usually a big fan of this kind of stuff, but for the Forester, it does kind of work, and it does kind of fit with its outdoorsy vibe. Also, this black plastic has these vents built into the back so that air can escape the wheel well and avoid a high pressure zone, and that helps with coefficient of drag. I do like the gloss black side view mirror cover. We have a nice little turn signal built in there, and then we have nice black trim for the windows as well, and then a bit of gloss for these like more sleek, low riding roof rails. The base Forester's roof rails do look a little different. They are a little taller. Standard black for the B and the C pillars. The D pillar is body colored, but if you go down here, it nice and proudly says symmetrical all-wheel drive right there, about 6 inches above the side part of the taillight. And the taillight even says Subaru right here. That's a nice little detail. Also, while we're over here, we have a similar subtle fender flare for the rear axle as well. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen right now so you can check those out. And I will add another. You get 8.7 inches of ground clearance with the Subaru Forester. Solid number. And I'll let you know that I have more information in the description. The base and premium trim Foresters get 17-inch aluminum wheels. If you get a limited, you get 18-inch wheels. But the Sport and this touring trim get 19-inch aluminum wheels. And I have to say, even with 19s, we still have a respectable 50 series sidewall right here. So it's not super thin. You have a little bit of tire to work with here. So even in the northern states, this tire is going to be a little bit better protected than some. That's nice to see. And it is a perfectly reasonable wheel design, in my opinion. I like having the gray with the more polished metal combined. I think it works well. And yes, this is a square setup. You have the same size wheel and tire in back as you do in front. Looking at the back of the Subaru, yes, I still think it looks like a traditional Forester in many ways, but it looks perfectly reasonable to me. I do like what they did with the taillights. As I show you, it starts on the side of the car, come here, get pretty darn fat again, but then they come to a point, they actually end right here. But then you have this gloss black strip that goes right across with the star cluster in the middle on the other side. I think that's nicely executed. You do have this subtle roof mounted spoiler right here and a fairly vertical rear windshield right here. And then Subaru is plenty proud to tell you that it's a Forester. It is stamped right into the back of the tailgate just above the license plate. I like that Subaru keeps its lettering and the touring trim lettering nice and subtle. It's not too in your face about it. I think that's nice. And I think the black plastic for the bumper works stylistically with the rest of the car. And I really appreciate that it's a nice and simple single exhaust pipe in the back, just like that. Now, this is stainless steel actually, but it's tucked away and simple, just as it should be. And one of the new things for the 6th generation Subaru is actually in the back here. It is a kick sensor for the power tailgate to open automatically and expose all this lovely cargo space you have. It is 28 cubic feet of cargo space behind the second row, and you do have this lovely all-weather Forester mat right here, and beneath it you have a little bit more space. Tug on this right here, and there's a little bit of space right here, like 3 compartments of shelving, and beneath that there is a space saver spare under there. So yes, you do still get a spare tire with your Subaru Forester. The base trim Forester does go without a lot of things that this top touring model has, but because it does not have the panoramic moonroof, you do get more cargo space, 30 cubic feet instead of 28. And if you need more than 28 cubic feet of cargo space, that is very easy to do. Press this button and this button, and these spring-loaded second row seats fold right down for you to give you 69 cubic feet of storage and room for yourself and a passenger. And if you get the base trim, you get even more space, 74 cubic feet. There are also some tie downs right here in the corner and up here to help hold things in place. And you do have some hooks on either side over here. And on this side, you even have a cigarette plug style power port right there. And it's also a nice and wide space, and it's reasonably tall. I think it'll be quite easy to fit my bike in here, but let's find out. Oh yeah, low loading floor, plenty wide. The bike slides right in. Yeah, this is a great place to haul a bike around. let's check out the inside. Because this is a touring model, we get a lovely two-tone brown and black interior. I would prefer a lighter color than black, but I'm glad that it's not all black. I think that does make a big difference. There are a couple of neat features to show you before I even get in. The rear seats are adjustable with this flap right here. If you pull this right here, that just gets the seat down. But this flap right here allows you to adjust between this most upright setting and this most lean back setting right here. Here, I'm gonna leave this one lean back. I'll put the other side the most upright. Not a huge difference, but you know, that's something. It's nice to have some flexibility in the seat backs for the second row. And also, I do have the front seats comfortable for me, and there is plenty of legroom, and the seat bottoms do look pretty high. So let's check that out. First, I'll adjust the seats back. And sure enough, the seat bottoms are nice and high, and I do have plenty of legroom. I would say a good 6 inches. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall. And even with this panoramic moonroof, I do still have headroom. I'd say about 1 inch. And I also have less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. Because this is a touring model, the 2 outside passengers also get heated seats. We also have a USB Type-C port and a USB Type-A port right there. And of course, we have a center armrest with cup holders and this lovely little rim around the perimeter of it. That's a nice little touch. So yeah, this is actually a very comfortable second row for adults. All right, let's go to the front. Another touring specific trait of the 2025 Subaru Forester are chrome interior door handles. And we do also get leather seating surfaces, but that is true on the Limited as well. We do also have a big bottle holder on the door, the usual controls up higher, and 2-position seat memory as well. We do have powered seats for both the driver and passenger, but the driver gets adjustable lumbar as well. There are a couple of controls to the left of the steering wheel, including another button for the hatch right there. And we do have adjustable tilt and telescope for the steering. It's manually done right there. And one more reminder that you got a touring right there on the floor mat. Most trims of Forester, premium and higher, do get paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. You do also get plenty of controls on the steering wheel. Cruise control stuff on the right, although these are your drive modes down here. I'll talk about that in a second. And media controls on the left, and Limited and touring models get a heated steering wheel. Regardless of trim, all Foresters still get analog gauges. You get your tachometer on the left, your speedometer on the right, with your fuel gauge and coolant temp baked into those. You do get a 4.2-inch screen in the center to give you all the pertinent information. Next to that, however, is a portrait-mounted 11.6-inch center display, and that is also on the premium and higher trims. The base trim gets dual 7-inch screens right there, and this does come with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. The dual 7-inch screens for the base trim has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it's wired. Push button start is not this guy up here. It's down low right here. And there is your instrument cluster lit up and your center display all lit up. At the bottom of the screen, you can see that we have dual zone climate control. That is standard across the board, but it's premium in the higher trims that get heated seats up front, and it's the touring trim alone that gets the ventilated seats as well. Beneath that, all but the base trim gets the wireless smartphone charger, and you also get an auxiliary port and a USB Type-C and USB Type-A port right there in front. That's just ahead of the very standard looking Prindle, and you do have a manual mode. Even though you don't have actual gears, it is a CVT, but you do have preset ratios to act like an automatic. Beneath that, you do have an electric parking brake. Because this is a touring model, we have the surround view camera and a couple of nice deep cup holders and another cigarette plug style electric port right there. Just past that, we do have a nice little shelf for storage and lower center console space right there. Let me show you this surround view camera. Because we're in park, we get a nice little tour But if I put it in drive, it shows you the overhead view of what we got, and in reverse, we get the backup view, and you can see the different options we have here. This is the home screen, but if I press this one right here to go to vehicle, you can see that we have a lot of different settings right here. We can turn on and off different driver assistance settings, more settings over here, and with vehicle control, we do only have sport and regular drive mode, but we do also have this X mode. We have dual mode X mode. So we can choose whether we want snow and dirt or deep snow and mud. Deep snow and mud will give more ratio for you to work with, more torque multiplication. So you'll get more engine revs for vehicle speed, so you'll have more torque to get through that kind of terrain. You can also turn on or off the steering responsive headlights that curve with your steering, auto stop start, cruise control acceleration. That one's interesting. But we should briefly talk drive modes. They are right here, intelligent or sport, and you'll see that it pops up on the center screen right here. Sport is a more aggressive throttle map, gets you to full power faster. Intelligent is a bit more progressive. So there you have it. A close look at the 6th generation 2025 Subaru Forester, this one a touring. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.